Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm Jacob Silverblade, and today we have Uriel Ventress and how I managed to get to 3k in less than a day, very comfortably in my opinion, winning all sorts of games. That game literally right there, the guy got insanely lucky on that one game. But the rest of these games, you're seeing a whole bunch of wins, one game here and there, just losing every single occasionally, but just a whole bunch of wins. And this is Chaplain of Virus, so you can see from here that I've played from Uriel Ventress onwards, and so many wins. It's been crazy, this Uriel deck. It's been doing very well. Now, how did I come to this conclusion? How did I get to this place where, like, I've made this deck? Well, if you remember all the way back in the day, there was a guy called Papa Beard, and he made, well, this deck. If you go onto BJ's YouTube channel, if you go from like oldest, you should be able to find it quite quickly actually, Papa Beard's Uriel Ventress deck, and it was very effective at the time. It's one of the best decks during that time as well, and I think it had to actually get a couple of nerfs to make it not overpowered. For the time, although there was a bit of questions on that. It was one of the best decks at the time, and this is what he ran, and it was an aggro deck. It was very effective with the random scout things right here. There was other cards which did different effects, like Firstborn. The codex effect of Firstborn wasn't this. It used to deal 1 damage to a random enemy, and it had 3 life instead of 2. So it was still becoming like super powerful unit if you manage to get codex off multiple times. It instead has changed to this. I'm trying to think now. It used to be this deal 1 damage ping guy, bit like Stoneguard Sergeant, but instead of 2 damage it just did 1 damage, and it was a very effective unit. And this was the whole purpose of the deck. You had Death from Above, here we are, Parish Chaplains, which was a decent, well-statted unit back in the day. And all sorts, and then you had eventually got Lieutenant Calcius, which was kind of your wing con with a tactical insight play, and he of course that constant aggression from Uriel itself, which used to be a 2 energy ability, and I think he used to start with an extra card as well, which enabled all this to work all together. The meta, of course, and the cards themselves have completely shifted back then. Firstborn does not the same thing it used to. Death from Above used to do 5 damage, and then it did 4 damage, which was still in this deck, I think even then, but now of course it's recently buffed. Chaplain is been changed all over the place. It was a 4-3 with 5 life back then, but it only gave +1/+1 to all your friendly troops. It's now gives it to himself, but he's now less life, 1 more range attack. Like, so many things have changed about this guy. Primaris Judicia used to have 1 more life back in the day. Just letting you know, ever guild, the power level of the game's gone up, and this guy's gone down since back then. Inceptor Sergeant, of course, these were this only now has it recently received a buff, and probably, frankly honest, a necessary buff. If Ultramarines are actually able to keep up with everything else, we needed a 6 range attack flanker, which can actually just do something, and actually able to clear a unit with 6 life or 6 energy. It was kind of crazy that it just wasn't the case before. And of course, one of the biggest changes, Uriel's ability itself, Master the Fleet, it's now been changed to 1 energy. So I took that deck and I said, right, what aggro deck of kind of like this version would I do now? And how would I just adapt it into what I think is best? And then I created this version. And then after a little bit, I realized there were certain things which didn't quite work, certain tweaks here and there. And I ultimately came up with this deck. This is the deck which has got me to 3k quite comfortably. Of course, somewhat using basically this deck all the way through. But this has been strongly, I'd say, the best one through it. To get me to the 3k right now, and I feel very comfortable with this one. One of the biggest things between these 2 decks is that this one did have tactical insight, and ultimately I got rid of it. I don't think it works with Uriel Ventress. And the main reason is that you can't trigger after Tactical Insight. Let's say you go along and you use Lieutenant Calcius on 7 energy. You play him, Tactical Insight, you get 1 trigger, then you need a 2 energy stratagem or like unit or whatever to trigger it off with. You simply can't guarantee that with Uriel. So you either have to go along and add in a whole bunch of like 2 energy drops, maybe 1 energy drops, because you can have your Uriel's 1 energy ability, and if you have a whole bunch of 1 energy drops, then you could combine it together. Either way, it doesn't really work. That doesn't really work, and I ultimately discovered that. So I ended up ditching the Tactical Insights, and I put in some Scouts instead. And this is where we're going to start the deck off from. Scouts are brilliant, they're just reliable, they do 1 additional damage. You're able to, it's quite a nice opening play on turn 1, you're just able to use Uriel's ability and then this guy, so you have something for the opponent to actually just deal with, and then you just get 2 triggers of damage straight away. It's actually really quite good. Hero's Respite, this is mandatory, just a card draw is required. There's no speaking points around that. Humanity Shield, of course, very, very important. Just the extra turn of living, point blank shots, stable to get that lethal range. Reavers, what can I say? Reavers have, ever since they gained free life, have been important and always will be important in my opinion. They've just their flank ability makes them, I would say, just not too good, but necessary in an Ultramarines deck. One of the cards which you won't normally typically see is Devastator Doctrine. The only card Warlord which really you saw this with was with Titus, and I think that's a fair opinion. The reason why that's the case is because this is blast free and then a codex effect, and you kind of, for this to be worthwhile, you kind of need both effects. Now, the reason why this is useful with Uriel is because, well, you could do this on effectively 3 energy and 4 energy and get both effects off very reliably. In fact, on a 4 energy, you have deal 1 damage to 3 different targets with Uriel's ability. And then you also have Devastator Doctrine itself, effectively being doing 4 damage to face, for example, and then 5 damage to face, for example, and then 4 damage to 2 separate targets. It's extremely important. And you're able to get around something like shields and whatnot as well with Uriel's ability. It's why it's so strong for 1 energy. It's a very, very solid stratagem for particularly what Uriel wants to be doing. It allows you to get that extra burn damage. It allows you to be able to clear with the opponent's stuff. It's brilliant. Inceptor Sergeant, Primaris Inceptor, sorry. Codex gaining +1 this turn. Absolutely crazy. It was already one of the better units of Ultramarines, in my personal opinion. And now that it's got a Codex ability to do this as well, I wouldn't be too surprised if actually this guy got some kind of nerf, either from melee attack to probably melee attack from 2 to 1, because as it stands, it's actually pretty darn good. Just being able to go 4 life and then actually have that 4 range attack to be able to kill with any other 3 energy, 3 health unit in the game. It's a very solid unit. Stone Guard Sergeant, of course, absolutely a staple. This is an aggro deck. Well, we're trying to be. There's a little bit of late game, but we're trying to be an aggro deck. And Stone Guard Sergeant, absolutely necessary for that extra damage continuously. And you're very reliably able to get Stone Guard Sergeant Codex off if you end up discovering your turn behind and whatnot, just because of Uriel's ability. It's very flexible in that sense. It's not great in terms of trying to trigger double Codex in 1 turn, but it's great of being able to reliably do Codex every single turn, and that's what I love about it. Death from Above, recently been buffed. It's very important because now this can actually deal with a 5 HP unit, which is brilliant. Beforehand, when it couldn't, it was just so bad. Because your opponent would pay a 4 HP unit, sorry, 4 energy unit for 5 HP, quite typical stats to be honest. And then Death from Above didn't actually kill it. So what you had to use your Warlord to attack it, which meant that you're not attacking face anymore, you're attacking another unit, and typically that unit has like 3 attack. That's about the average, 3 attack in 1 stat, at least I would think. And since you took more damage, and you're not attacking the opponent's face, you're not actually achieving aggro, and then you could actually clear it, and you didn't get any tempo. Now that it does that 1 additional damage, it just means it's just enough to not only actually able to be credible at clearing units, but also be credible at clearing the opponent, dealing damage to the opponent's face. It's so important. This simple code exchange, it totally changes the card and makes it way better. Honor Guard, there was I'm not claiming a change to the Honor Guard. I'm not actually calling this a buff. Makes it more interesting though, and it certainly makes it more interesting in a way that actually it's more aggro, in my opinion. Giving more armor 1 to adjacent units, that means your Warlord now has armor 1, which means that it can actually do 2 damage to the opponent's face whilst only taking 1 damage back. That is very important. Without that, you can't really... Well, no, not without that, but that is important because it just means that you can start actually trading with your opponent's face and actually start going, you're taking more damage than I am, so even in a like an aggro war, you're going to be winning that aggro war, which is brilliant. With that Vanguard as well, it's also very useful. The downside is, of course, it did receive that nerf in that fact that it had less range attack. It makes it a lot more interesting, but it is actually a weakness to this unit, and there's certain things which can, of course, clear this. For example, I could play Honor Guard, and the opponent could be Uriel himself, use its 1 energy talent, bring it down to 4 life, and then play a, Primus Inceptor, having 4 range attack, able to shoot the Honor Guard himself. The Honor Guard would now die, and you're left then there free. And he's left with 1 health Primus Inceptor, which is, completely valid. But there has to be, I do agree, just giving this additional bonus was probably not a good idea, but this is a change. This change ultimately means it's more of an aggro-based unit, in my personal opinion, because it just allows your Warlord to deal additional damage to face. I don't think this really helps in protecting your Warlord more. If anything, it just means that it can't clear the opponent's troops as much with that decreased range attack, but overall, it's a good buff for this deck. Another thing is this Stormraven. Stormraven isn't the best, in all honesty. It's still... This is one of the things which you could have a bit of a flex spot with, particularly if you like the Primus Eradicators there with their anti-armor capabilities. What I will say about this though, because of Uriel's ability being, I guess, so efficient for 1 energy, you can use it as a 5 energy play, and instead of a 4 energy play, you could do it as a 5 energy play, deal 3 damage to 3 separate troops, and then of course 2 damage to whatever else. That's important because then you're actually able to clear board. I always find that most troops these days, which is trying to be spammed, typically has 3 life, rightfully so, because Warlords have 2 base attack, 2 attack a base, and with that ability to be able to just actually able to do 3 damage, it's very important, and I find that to be very useful. It's double inspired retribution. This is something taken over from Papa Beard's deck, but I trust him on this. I think it's probably necessary as well, because if you do get into that late game and you are falling behind a little bit and there's just some big things you just cannot remove, having double inspired retributions I think is very important for that. Now, another change from like Papa Beard's deck was Invicta Tactical Warsuit. Warsuit did not exist, of course, all the way back when Papa Beard was playing. Neither would have played it even if it was just hours on release. It had taken a couple of buffs to actually get this thing being playable, but I think this guy is actually very good in this purpose of deck. They typically have, quite often I find my opponents actually have to clear this with their Warlord, which means that taking 5 man damage bare minimum is somewhat also protects your Warlord as well. It also can get around certain weird things with like snipe and stuff like that. I find this to be just a very useful card. It's also a card which very nicely gets buffed by Inceptor Sergeant, which we'll get into in a moment, but Warlord, very good, useful unit. It's also very nice with the Honor Guard as well, I would say, being able to just stay alive and whatnot. And now we go on to the Inceptor Sergeant. This is one of the things which I think I had to somewhat do. Certainly, I much prefer it. You can have double Calcius instead of Inceptor Sergeant if you want to. However, I would personally I really wouldn't. Not at this stage. There is quite a few factions which actually have a weakness, I'd say, to flying high range attack flying units, Emperor's Children being one of them. Another one being actually Tyranids, and a lot of people have been trying to play out Swarm Lord recently because of course he's got buffed, and I would say this has become more of a staple ever since then. And the permanent range attack of this troop buff is kind of crazy actually when you think about it. I think actually, in all fairness, the fact that it's permanent kind of suggests either the melee attack probably could go down, in fact has a nerf, or that this guy's or it just remains until the end of the turn, because the fact that it affects all troops, gives them all +1 range attack. It is absolutely necessary that this guy does 6 damage on the turn it comes into play, no doubt. But now that it does, something else, its stats are probably just a bit too good in other places, you know. But that being said, of course I'm gonna use him, obviously. He's a very good unit. He's one of those units which supports the Victor also, which are able to attack and go face with, for example. And he's just a very useful unit. He's also very reliable to get that codex off with Uriel Ventress's ability. It's very nice in that sense. Absolutely love it. One copy of Lieutenant Calcius. As I say, if you want to, you could run 2 Lieutenant Calciuses instead if you want to go even more aggro, but I wouldn't recommend it. I think the Intercept Sergeants are just necessary. Calcius, though, is useful just to get that extra damage to face in. Sometimes you lack that capability, and just having that one extra card. And then finally, the Assault Doctrine. I think this is probably still mandatory in terms of the best Ultramarine decks out there. Maybe not in like a vehicle deck, but I don't see that being actually just the best Ultramarine deck in general. I think that's probably a tier below all the best ones in all honesty. And so hence Assault Doctrine is just mandatory. It's still a bloody good card. It is the card which has been holding up the Ultramarines this entire time, and it remains to be doing still the same thing now with other cards being better. So it is still good. I would still recommend it. It still allows you to go that punch face aggro capability. And yes, I have used Uriel Ventress quite often to actually beat Titus in a couple of games. I don't think I've lost to Titus with my Uriel deck so far. Granted, I've yet to face myself and I guess, or I would say another decent player playing Titus. But that aside, this Uriel deck I do think can stand up to Titus, which is very, very important, and is more aggro than Titus. I think there's no doubt on my part on that. He is more of an aggro warlord than Titus. So if you wanted to go for the aggro style deck, I would highly recommend Uriel Ventress. There is a couple of things you can change in this deck. One of the main things is that you can, instead of going Victor Tactical Warsuit, you can go Primus Impulsor, and instead of Inceptor Sergeant, which might sound crazy because of how much I've been giving praise on this guy, you can go for Angels of Death instead. These two cards actually, I think, are very comparable now and almost go really well together. So if you wanted to go even less aggro, but I wouldn't do this because if you're going less aggro, you're kind of like, well, why not play Gym Boss and play Titus at this point? So I wouldn't recommend to do this, but you could take out the Lieutenant Calcius and put in Angels of Death, because guess what? Your Inceptor Sergeants do combine with the Angels of Death in the fact that if you go Angels of Death turn 6, Inceptor Sergeant turn 7, E7, sorry, with your ability. Well, now Angels of Death, all these guys have been increased in range attack because of your Inceptor Sergeant. So it's a very good play. Reason why you would put Impulsor though, if you're going Angels of Death instead of Invicta Tactical Warsuit, is Impulsor has basically the same stats, slightly less range attack, but its codex ability is deploy a Intercessor. And this Intercessor does get buffed by the Angels of Death codex ability. It buffs all your intercessors. These cards then have really good synergy with one another, because if they remove the Primus Impulsor, well, which is the actual main thing deploying the guys, well, there's the Intercessor left, ideally, and then the Intercessor gets buffed by the Angel of Death, which increases his attack, so you can get a 3 attack to face instead of just a mere 2 attack to face, which is actually quite big. Or if they actually deal with the little guy because they're worried about Angels of Death, well, now you still got your Impulsor still around, still pumping out even more guys. It's brilliant stuff, really. Either way, ideally you still have a free attacking unit afterwards, and those are completely valid changes to this deck if you prefer. This is not what I've been using though. I've been using this version, but if you want to test that yourselves, absolutely go for it. I'm not gonna stop you. I might even recommend it depending what the meta is. With that being said, I think it's best that we should get into a couple of games, shall we? Lucius, right. Now, Assault Doctrine is of course a win con here. Lucius is a problem in this deck because you want to be using your talent to actually deal damage to face. I think I quite like this, actually, in honesty. So yeah, you want to be using talent to do damage to face, but then
Swords of Kelp,
his ability, Stimulation, actually counteracts that, so then you end up not wanting to do that anyway, so you end up in a bit of a weird place. So
taking cover, enemies in range.
She's also, Lucius is a very good aggro warlord, so it's really hard to say here. I think I won't do it because of the Assault Doctrine win con. We want to be utilizing his weakness in the range attack because otherwise all he has is a bonus on his melee attack every single turn. So you do want to be doing that, but I will say I do think hold on, just looking at what he's playing here. Okay. Ooh, nice. Hold on. Does that change? Absolutely. Yes, it does, because these are absolutely brilliant. And make sure you do that melee attack. But yes, if... Well, I had lost my train of thought. The Assault Doctrine. Assault Doctrine's brilliant. It's a win con against Lucius because he wants to be doing melee attack a lot of time and you want to be aggroing him down. So, yeah, it's useful. So he's just been going for generic value here. Interesting, he's gone for blast. Guess he's gonna go melee attack against me. Yep, that makes sense. Now, thankfully, we've got into quite a good curve out, in honesty. And hopefully that Ultramarine Honor Guard is really gonna serve quite a bit of purpose here. Okay. Darn, he got him. So now, this is a good question. Do I just use Invicta? What's cruelty? Is it during your turn? During your turn does something when... Right, yeah. It has to be during your turn, which is, I think, rather important. So I think we probably just go Invicta here. Yeah, I don't see how we don't. We fear to tread. We just keep the aggro train gumming. Gumming? Coming. Oh dear. Did have to take extra damage there, which is nice. He did get a lot of heal cards. Yeah, he still has to trade in that guy anyway, so the extra attack didn't really do anything, but hey-ho. And he's got that card, which means we'll see what we got here. I think we might use Humanity Shield here, you know. So yeah, we'll use Humanity Shield first. So we don't want to be taking the Lucius extra damage. In all fairness, we didn't have to. We could have done on this guy. And then we would have been fine. But that's the main reason why it's voiding that 6 damage. We don't like it. Still getting that little bit extra damage on his face. Because of the blast, which is very handy. Now that's a Rhino. That's quite a big drop. Point blank shot doesn't really fix anything here, does it? This is all fairness 5 damage. Okay, so we punch first. That's pretty good. Ah, yes, because you got ecstasy, right? Deal 3 damage to random enemy. So we do this one first. Then we Storm Raven. And then we point blank shot that guy. Now we draw that extra card. Ah, yes. This was one of the more problematic units before the update, but now he should be alright. We'll see how many times he buffs them, though. Particularly how many pieces of armor he gives them. Is he able to give him 2 pieces of armor? He could start becoming a problem. I don't think he's enough of a problem, though, so we'll just buff ourselves up. Assault Doctrine's still an absolutely crazy win con. And this is where we absolutely want to be going for melee damage. The 6 melee damage is, in all fairness, with the new Ultramarine buffs, is probably a bit too much. He is making a bit of a beefy boy, but nah, it wasn't enough. Shadow's son. Right. Yeah. I don't know what I think about taking Inspired Retribution. The problem is the big Shadow Sun units. Do we reckon it is the Markalite Shadow Sun? Where you have a couple of stealth units, in which case we shouldn't take Inspired Retribution. But if it's the Shadow Sun, I'm going to say it's the Shadow Sun, the big... Oh, no. I should have not done that. I was about to say, I reckon it's the Shadow Sun which takes the big battle suits, in which case I should take Inspired Retribution.
You will soon learn of the Firecast's true strength.
Either way, in fact, Victor Tactical War Suit isn't actually that bad here. It's got high range attack and it does the extra damage when they attack it, so not too bad of an option in my personal opinion. Understandable, but I'm like, depends what he's going for, right? If he's going for the other version, I wouldn't be. Here I think I just want to do this, and I will go for this.
They'll be dead before they see me coming.
We're probably going to be using Hero Power into Devastator's Doctrine next turn, depending on what he does. We just needed some kind of threat out to be a distraction, I guess. If anything, I suspect a Vespid Stingwing. That would make sense to me. Yeah, as I expected. Vespered Stingwing. Okay. We do have Sternguard Sergeant, which, you know, I would be somewhat wasting the blast here. So I think if anything, I want to do this. I am going to take the 3. And now we'll have a Sternguard Sergeant.
Shot by shot,
I think that's pretty good.
purge the galaxy.
So yes, okay, Tidewall gun rig, not too bad. Dynamic offensive, okay, that gives us a turn to put down Warsuit. He goes aggro again. Considering what he's doing, I don't think he should be going aggro. But hey, I'm not him. I could be wrong. Hard removal? Yep. That makes sense. Let's go Hero's Respite here. Oh, I'd love to get this guy out. Storm Ravens. What could be the best play here? I think here we want to go scout, to be honest. We need to get something on the field. We do go for that. And we need to go for aggro here. We absolutely need to go aggro here. Okay. Anything else? Alright, yep. Makes sense. So we can either just go for Lieutenant Calcius, which makes sense. We're able to move this shield anyway. The other option is Storm Raven, but in theory Storm Raven should be better when we have more targets. We're not going to remove the shield. So we're doing this for no matter what. The reason why we could go Storm Raven is could go Storm Raven to point blank shot. I think we go Calcius here.
Form up and advance.
Oh, don't tell me you have a second hard removal, do you? No, he has that guy and he must have flank. Yes.
Ready to deliver the Montcar.
That makes sense. We have Inspired Retribution. Which I would use to get rid of this guy. Now I guess I can melee attack and point blank shot you. That's what I'd have to do. The other option is Storm Raven, point blank shot there. I do nothing against this guy though. Absolutely nothing.
We need to move now.
Nah, this guy needs to go, fortunately. I don't really particularly want to use a so-and-so there. The reason why I say unfortunately is because there kind of is some other big guys that you could put down as well. Like that guy.
Launch protocols initiated.
So that's why I'm not overly keen, in all honesty. Particularly if he's able to get that mark light up on us. That guy kind of has to die. And we got no removal. Great. That's why I didn't like it. This has been a very unfortunate game. We could go Invicta Tactical Warsuit. No, nothing clears this.
We need to move now.
No, there's only one option. We kind of have to hope they... Is that the flank unit? No, in principle he gets another flank unit. Not necessarily, but in principle... Because we can do nothing about clearing the board. I think we go for this and that. Kind of hope for the best, but I suspect we are dead here with that marker light too. Because this is 10 damage, he is actually 14 damage. If he has a flanker which can kill this guy, he has 14 damage. Or hard removal. Not dead yet, although he could have killed it. Don't think I'm dead yet then. He's got 9 damage. He also had to use so-and-so. 9's been upgraded to 11. Yikes. He's 1 off. Okay. That's inspired retribution, but we do have ultimately the blast here, so if we went Stormraven, this here, that would have worked. Asmodai. So I think we're going to get rid of Inspired Retribution. And I think we're going to get rid of Tactical Warsuit. Do we keep 1 Warsuit here? I think it will. It's a reliable option. And we've got some decent options here. So, happy gamer.
Swords of Kelp, with me.
Nothing can compare to the
Yeah, we're all right.
judgment of the Emperor.
The lion's sons endure. I will see to it.
That does need to be removed.
One
Thankfully,
strike is all I need.
pretty ideal unit for it, in all honesty.
The lion's sons endure. I will see to it.
Repent, and I will make your death swift.
Ah, you're right.
One strike is all I need.
We will not fail. We are Ultramarines.
I thought that was a bit appropriate. But yes, got... Okay, he's gone for the flank guy. Sorry, Vanguard guy. So here, unless we get something...
Your defiance is noted.
I kind of want to save the death from above, to be honest. So here, we're going to do something different. When I play Victor Stats Warsuit, but I'm not going to attack. And the reason I'm not going to attack is because this guy has an ability to heal up whenever you gain quest points. And Asmodai just does that, like, just for mucking about. So there's no real point in attacking him because it's just doing 3 damage to our face. We don't really achieve anything. I suppose he can attack us now, but I reckon he can out-heal that anyway, so... See, quite nice here. He has to go along and remove that first. Warsuit being very solid.
None shall escape the wrath of Caliban!
That's an interesting thing. No, he uses the quest points. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. In which case, we could Storm Raven here, actually, instead. The reason why we'd want to do that is because it actually removes that stealth unit with our hero power, which is quite nice. We would have to take some damage, but I think I'll be alright with that, to be honest. Yeah, I think we do it. But then we do remove him, because otherwise he will heal up.
To me, Dark Angels! Victory is at hand!
Okay. Hero power? Or recon operation, okay. Even if he chose the Inceptor Sergeant, we're still playing Inceptor Sergeant here. He's got that 4 melee attack, which we need. He's chosen death from above. I really don't care.
Ready your jump packs?
Yep.
We strike now.
Very importantly, he's just 6 range attack now, so he actually has to send something to deal with that. The problem becomes if he's got... How many secrets has he generated at this point? I have a feeling he might have generated 4. Doesn't seem right, because he's only got 2 cards more than me, so...
Caliban's rage echoes through me.
Maybe he's generated 3 then. Well, there's one of the secrets right there. That's gonna delay us a turn. But no matter. He's roughly out of cards, so we're not too worried. I can't remove shield there, so I will just remove you instead. This guy is a problem because he's going to draw himself cards.
The chase is over. Now the blade falls.
Oh no, he didn't want to do that. He wanted to heal up. I'm sure. I'm sure he wanted to heal up there. Okay. So... could just go on a guard, punch face. On a guard, Victor Warsuit. What are you? You do 5 damage. You do so and so.
Now!
Yeah, I think we'll be pretty alright. We go on a guard.
For courage
So and so, punch face. The other option was Honor Guard. We use Hero Power here, but this wouldn't be enough to get him to kill, because he would be 8 and he'll be 3. We can always use it later, but the idea is that you would have used it on against this guy. But then you'll be on 8, so you wouldn't have lethal anyway, so I've opted for this play instead, just so we have threats on the board, things he wants to deal with.
To me, Dark Angels! Victory is at hand!
Interesting using the captains. It chooses a troop and puts it in the top of your deck, so you're not actually getting those secrets. So it's one of those things. Yeah, I think that's GG. I think he needed that ping there.
With fury, brothers! Ours is the righteous outrage!
Every shot counts!
Titus, right. Now, Titus, in principle, is quite a difficult matchup as well. No, you're not going to do that much here. Not right now, at least. Point blank shot. He doesn't really play troops, so I'm not the biggest fan of those two cards, to be honest. You might think Orbital Bombardment, but he actually avoids playing units, so I think what I prefer is Aerial Clash here. The reason why is we end up getting more cards, which we can use, which we typically go for our cards quicker than he does.
We are the Emperor's chosen.
Well, no we don't. What are we talking about? Just get the card draw. There, turn 1. Who doesn't just get card draw turn 1? Like that. Obviously. This is what you need to do, guys. This is how you get good at being Ultramarines. You just get the card draw turn 1. Now, I do think we go aggro here, even though his ability, of course, is very good there.
Shot by shot, we will purge
I'm gonna have to do
galaxy.
range attacks now. Yeah, just get... He just got the second card draw. Because, why not? Why not? What could be wrong, hey? We do actually have a very good curve right now. You see, he's using hero power. Even though his hero power is bloody good, he's using hero power and... well, we're not. So, in principle, we should start claiming it ahead.
Courage and honor!
We're on the same life now, which is huge. Very importantly, we have a unit out, he doesn't. And it's a solid unit as well. So he's going to have to do something else here to actually clear it. So he's played
There's no
Impulsor.
hiding from Ultramar's wrath.
Not really bothered by that unit. Like, not properly. Just play Victor back to a war suit.
There is nowhere we fear
We
to
just-
tread.
Clear it. Hopefully we haven't just got caught here with Titus, because Titus could go blast. We do have the 1 armor. So if he goes blast, we'll take only 4 damage from blast effect, and he will take 4 damage as well. And it would be enough for him to trade here, but he's at least going to take 5 damage overall. So he's slightly ahead. Not the end of the world. Lieutenant Calcius.
Form up and advance.
This guy can come in when we need him, sort of thing.
Ready your jump packs? We strike now.
Do you punch me here? That's the question. That is an interesting question. I don't think I want to... I think what I want to do is do this. And then I do this.
And honor!
Now we're really starting to actually claim some kind of advantage here. We do have one death from above. We also have a Storm Raven. I'm just thinking about lethal range, you see. Outriders, yeah, okay. Chiron, that's the problem. I would have just gone for heal too, to be honest. Oh, I would have not done that. Storm Raven's definitely here. See what we get. Do this. Do we just do this just to get the damage in? What, we can do 5 damage next turn? We can do that. What's that? That's 5. That's 7. That's 8. I can go 8 damage next turn. He can heal 2. Yeah, we do this. He puts him on 7. He could heal 3 and have armor 1 with Assault Doctrine, which would be a big deal. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. He has gone face here. I don't know. We've got our own Assault Doctrine. Do we have lethal with Assault Doctrine? No, we don't have lethal with Assault Doctrine. No, we don't, because we can only do 1 damage, bring down to 6 to the arm 1. We go up to 6, right. Do we have lethal Storm Raven, potentially? Death from above does 4 damage. Storm Raven does 1. Forward 1's 5, added ability is... Yeah, 4, add 1 is 5, add 1 is 6, add 0 is 7. Is that right? 4... 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think it's right. So I think we've got exact lethal here. But we need to do it in the right order. And there we have it! Scenari. Bloody GSC, what are they doing here? Go back to the old meta. Bugger off.
Swords of Kalth, with me!
From the wastelands of Damnathor, we rise to claim our freedom.
No, I don't want to play Scout here. And the reason why I don't want to play Scout here, because he's going to get Master Outrider for free. We could play it just next turn, get rid of the Sabotage. Actually, we do have a Sabotage remover here. No, I don't think we do it. We don't want to give him Sabotage for free. That doesn't sound fun. Okay, I think we will do this, of course. We will be punching. Now, does he want to play stuff? Yes, he probably wants to be playing so-and-so, so-and-so. Yeah, I think it's now is the time
Taking cover. Enemies
to get the
in
extra
range.
damage in. And if he does use hero power, we've delayed him a turn, and then we can just get rid of whatever we're dealing with. Our Alien Idol. What are you playing? That makes sense. That's fine. Why did you play Alien Idol? No, this is a real player. Just making sure. I swear I turned bots off, you see. Could have sworn, but... it just felt like the wrong time to use it, you know? I'm keeping the point blank shot here because... kind of do need to keep cards in the hand. Cut them off. It's like swearing. Yep. So-and-so here. He doesn't quite have the 6 energy drop yet to be able to deal the honor guard, I'd say, properly. So, I think we're in a decent spot still. Plus, honor guard really does quite nicely go with Inceptor Sergeant if he does make a tempo play, keeping the Scepter Sergeant alive. There's a lot of things which is good about honor guard.
Be ready for anything and prepare to strike.
One of the things, though, is not dealing with that, in all fairness, so... we definitely do for this, regardless of what we do, I think. Do we just play a Scepter Sergeant anyway, in Scepter Sergeant? And do we just go face? Well, we've got point blank shots for those and whatnot. If we have to, we can use these as well. We need just trigger codex, right?
Ready your jump packs?
I think we just do it. We just go. Yep. Don't particularly care. Who's that guy? What could he be?
None can deny the Star Children's deliverance.
Has to be a 400 drop as it stands. Oh, it's... so it has to be you. How strange. Right. Let's get rid of some of these. Oh, I don't have my hero power anymore. You bugger. Buggery Bugginson. Do I Storm Raven here? So I could remove this and play you. Could send you into you and shoot that there. And I know what this is. This is a 1-3 with 2 life. Yeah, I think I remove it. We just get rid of the
One
cards.
strike is all I need.
Oh wow. It's not what I thought. No, I think we have to remove that guy now. Yeah, there's no way we don't. You still only have 3 range attack, but like this guy, so they both clear things anyway, so he's not gonna get strike now, I don't think. Could be wrong. Yeah, why didn't I think about that guy? Of course that ambush guy exists. Oh, not Camothus. Ah, he's got the stun. GSC. Brother. What the heck? What is this? I'm gonna have to use a Storm Raven to get rid of that. Storm Raven, death from above, I think. Because this guy can constantly put sabotagers in our hands, so... and I don't like that. So we're gonna have to do that. I guess, no, we could use Storm Raven instead. So instead of point blank shotting his face, we could use Storm Raven. And then Master the Fleet. And just generically shoot him. But I think I'd rather do this. Don't particularly like that though. Because that's 5 damage which could have gone face, in all honesty. Gives him more time. Summon the cult, okay. Right. That's annoying.
The brood
You're a big
is
problem.
ever watchful.
That is a huge problem. Oh my golly, I only have stratagems in my hand. That's a lot of damage. Ah, is there a way? There is a way, isn't there? Manage shield. Manage shield Storm Raven. Manage shield Storm Raven ability point blank shot. That is the way. But we're about to use 4 stratagems in it. Yeah, we need to use Manage shield. We don't have a choice. That would be 12 damage if he was allowed to do his thing. I think he still triggers on this, doesn't he? He doesn't. Whatever. I avoided 9 damage.
The Grizzle Pit and I have created such wonders to fuel our ascension.
No, we got lethal. Just need to do something like this. And get rid of this one. And then we can do this one. And then we're all good. Win for Ultramarines! So yes, everyone, that is the Uriel Ventress deck, at least my take on it. It's been very, very successful. If we go to Ultramarines right now, of course, that is not how it is. It's, I guess I'm on the top of the Ultramarines as it stands, and it's been a very, for all honesty, very comfortable. I mean, one of those games there, I think we should have lost, in all honesty, against the Shadow Sun. Don't worry, mate. Don't feel too bad of it. Grim Derp. There was a way. There was, of course, a way out of it, but don't feel too bad out of it. But still, I think that shows just how good this Ultramarine deck is, and how scary, how effective it can be. Pure, well, not pure aggro, I'd say, but very much aggro Ultramarines. Yeah. See you all next time.